to It's All Black and White TV, and tonight we've got a transfer show. Just looking at possible targets we could bring into the club. They're not nailed on targets, so we just, have our little fantasy wish list, and we can all dream. And tonight I'm delighted to have Pete on with me. How are you, Pete?
All good yourself?
Yeah, not too bad. I sorted my TV out tonight and had to be moved down because it was too high up, so I've had to move it. So yeah, but other than that, yeah, everything's all great, mate. Yeah.
Good.
So guys, if you like what you see, then please hit those like buttons. It really does help the channel and pushes up the search settings as well. And also, if you haven't yet, then please hit the subscribe button. It's free to do so. Helps grow the channel. And also, if you hit the bell notification, that informs you when I put a pre-recorded video on, or I've got a live show coming up as well. So look out for that as well, guys. So before we'll get into the transfer show, obviously we all saw this bit of news today, which has come from the club. And this is a chat. Newcastle are delighted to be announced Monster Energy as their drinks partner at the club. So that's a new sponsorship to the club as well, because it won't be a cheap deal, that's for sure, not with our owners. Pete, what's your thoughts on this? I think it's absolutely fantastic.
Certainly is, isn't it? One of the biggest drink companies now, isn't it? And it just shows what it's going to mean for the club as well. Now, in a way that loads of companies want to support us with their advertising and things like that.
Yeah, there'll be a lot of companies want a piece of this now, Pete. I mean, we've got Saudi on board. We don't know what part they're playing in the club yet. We're not sure if it's stadium name or if they're going on front of shirt sponsor. We're not entirely sure until the club made an announcement. But I think it's Peter Silverstone, this new commercial guy we got from Arsenal. He's got these in as well. I mean, it's just fantastic. And it's just great to see that we're getting these people coming on board, because not only that, these sponsors coming in are very important, because they'll bring much money into the club and help generate our funds as well as a club. So we can now generate money, spend it in the transfer windows as well. So, it's all good. And the only way is up with these owners. I mean, it's absolutely fantastic, isn't it?
Absolutely it is, isn't it? Just shows where we all sitting as a club now.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Andrew's on #Bruce out. Why has he got another job somewhere, Ozzy? Yeah, because I haven't heard yet. I hope not. I hope the guy, I'm no disrespect to Steve Bruce, but I hope this guy just says, look, I'm not going to manage in football no more. I'm going to take a step back and walk away, because this guy's just doesn't need to be in football.
No, anymore he doesn't.
He's the compensation claim maker, isn't he?
Absolutely.
Yeah. And Joe's in the house. Evening, Tony. Evening to you as well, Joe. Thanks for coming on, mate. And he says, I think it's a great deal for us. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Big Six ain't going to like this, are they? I mean, not just the Big Six, the 18 clubs, I should say, because Man City abstained when that vote came out. I mean, why shouldn't we have what sponsors we want at the club? And I mean, why shouldn't we be to generate as much money as you want? That's what it's all about. And if these firms and companies want to pay so much money to put in the club, then there should be no limit in what they can put in. Do you agree with that, Pete?
Absolutely, yes. Of course, they want to see that this club deserves the investment it needs, what it lacked under the previous ownership and all that. And it's just going to make this football club a lot more better. It really, really is going to make this club a hell of a lot more better now.
Yeah, absolutely, Pete. I mean, if you look back at the former owner, and I mean, he must look at this and think, he's missed a lot of opportunities to have this club, where it should have been, but that's his downfall. But it's nice now that we've got owners that actually care about the club, and the way to bring money in the club is by getting these big sponsorship deals in. I'm still expecting to see Aramco come through the door as well at some point. That wouldn't surprise me. But yeah, as much money as we get in the club, I mean, you know, what makes you laugh is when you get teams like Leicester City who say, "Oh no, we can't have this sponsorship, we can't have that." But you know, their stadium's named after their owners of King Power. They had King Power on their shirts. So I'm not being funny. If they can do that, why can't we do the same? You know, and it's
Exactly.
just, it's like they're jealous now because we've got the money. That's why, and they don't want us getting bigger, and they're worried. But the problem is, we will get bigger.
Yep.
And we will bulldoze that big six out the way. Exciting times ahead. I mean, it's great being a Newcastle fan at the minute, sitting third in the Premier League on 30 points on a plus 18 goal difference, you know. And sitting third at Christmas now, basically, because the next game's not Boxing Day in the Premier League. And I'm glad in a way we've got that Carabao Cup game just before we play Leicester, because we can use that as a match to get the fitness back up as well. So, and we've got two friendlies before that as well, one in Saudi and one at St James against Rayo Vallecano. So that's two good friendlies lined up as well, which isn't too bad. And it's all about fitness. Because once Eddie's let these players have that 2 weeks off, he'll come back and he'll want them back on that training ground, and he'll want their fitness levels back to where they were now before we broke up for the season. I mean, obviously, I did a half-term report last night. I know some people are saying it's not really half-term because we're not halfway through, but we're nearly halfway through the Premier League already.
Yep.
I mean, how's your thoughts on the 15 games that we've actually played this season, losing one game, Pete? I mean, what have you made of it so far?
It's just magnificent, isn't it? Just to see where we are sitting in the top 3 of the Premier League. I mean, that hasn't happened for years since under the Bobby eras. Because look what happened. What did our previous owner do? Starved us of investment, ambition, and we were battling relegation. Majority under his ownership, apart from one season or two. And just to see us in that position now is absolutely fantastic. Not to mention, I think we've got one of the best English managers now in football history in Eddie Howe. And look at the way he's just transformed the players. He's got the players playing for him. The players are listening to what he's got to offer as well. And that's hard work has massively paid off in terms of where we are on the table. It doesn't lie.
Yeah, I totally agree, Pete. I mean, if somebody had said to me before the season started, when the World Cup starts, we'll be sitting third on 30 points, I would have laughed at people, to be fair. I didn't expect this in a million years to be this high up by this time. After we didn't just scrape relegation last year, we stayed up by a massive difference. And, no other team's going to repeat that. Or it's going to be very hard for another team to repeat that again. But, I mean, to be honest with you, if at the start of the season, if we were going into this World Cup and we were sitting, say, 7th or 8th, I might have thought, yeah, that's still successful.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I mean, where did you think we would start, before the ball was kicked, where were you thinking we would be at the World Cup?
Probably around that position as well. Definitely around top half of the table, I would have thought, because this is the full season with Eddie Howe. And he's going to bring so much more to this side. And just to get higher up than where a lot of us expected is just magnificent. We're there for a reason because of how we've performed this season. Look at how we've performed against the top teams. 3-3 against Manchester City at home. We got robbed at Liverpool and we lost that. We know that. But we got a very good draw at Man United. We've beaten Spurs away. We've beaten Chelsea at home as well.
Yeah.
It's just magnificent.
Yeah. And it's all down to this man here. I mean, he's been a breath of fresh air since he come in the club. But for what he's done to this team, and yes, people might say we spent over £200 million on players. Yeah, so what? But as Eddie Howe says, it's not just the players he's brought in. It's also the players that were already there have contributed to this as well. So when the media go on about us buying players and having money, they really need to do their research properly and look back and think, well, actually, but they've got a lot of the players at that club still that were there previously. The likes of Almiron, the likes of ESM, the likes of Joe Linton, Callum Wilson, Sean Longstaff. They all deserve that credit. Fabian Schär as well. I mean, it's just, and yeah, but that's the media. They're always going to pick up as soon as we spend money, and it's just, and I just don't know, why they're where they're coming from with this. So today I saw a report today, and apparently we're looking to shift a couple of players out ourselves in January. And high on the agenda for going in January is this guy now, Jamal Lascelles. Apparently there's a £10 million price tag on him. He hasn't really featured much for us. He obviously can't get in the team because the defence in front of him's, a lot better than what he is, unfortunately. I mean, he's played all right this season when he's been called upon. And, he gets extra points from me on Saturday for doing that bit of shithousery, stopping Cucurella taking the quick throw and getting the yellow card for it. I mean, if we do get rid of him in January, we've got to bring a replacement in. I mean, have you heard about Jamal Lascelles going in January, Pete?
I've seen some rumours that have been going around about I've got remit, so yeah, I have seen what's been going on in terms of rumours.
Yeah, and there's also talk of maybe Matt Ritchie going as well in January. And if Matt Ritchie goes, I mean, do you know what? The guy's been a great servant. He's never let anybody down. He's always given his 100% every time he's pulled that shirt on the pitch, and he's always done. He's a leader on the pitch as well, and you can see it in him. He's probably a leader in the dressing room, to be fair. And I mean, yes, the guy's legs have gone now, but for the work that he's done for this club, I mean, he could have gone to West Ham and he chose to come to us instead and be in the Championship. He could have gone to West Ham in the Premier League. And, I know his Magic Hat's retired now and it's in the hands of Bruno now, but, but when that guy goes, if he goes to another Premier League team, he goes with our best wishes.
Absolutely.
And I would hope, and I think when, if it's a team we've already played at home, say if he went to Everton, for instance, and we go down to Goodison Park and he's playing, the fans will give him a great reception. You get a fantastic reception off the Newcastle fans because the guy has been absolutely phenomenal for us. I mean, he's been brilliant, and wherever he goes, we wish him every success. But I think the time's right now, Pete, do you?
Yeah, I mean, it has been. I mean, did a job for us in the Championship, no doubt about that. Particularly in this, I would say in the other season under Rafa in the Premier League. But then it's like he was picking up injuries. I mean, the serious one he picked up during the Leicester Carabao Cup game, which was a serious one. He was out for a few months with that. And yeah, the performances just weren't there. You could tell that injury was probably starting to catch up with him quite a bit now. But yeah, you're right. He has been a great servant. We will definitely wish him all the best. But yeah, it's a player that needs now to be moved on out of the club, considering his age as well. 33 years old as well. So right time that we need to move him on.
Yeah, I totally agree. I mean, if Lascelles goes in January, perfect replacement for Lascelles is this guy, Benno Badiashile. I mean, we've talked about him before, Pete, and I mean, this guy is an absolute brick house, and not a lot gets past him. And we've seen footage of him. The guy looks pretty good and pretty decent. I mean, he's probably going to cost about 40-50 million. But he would be the type of player to come in. You'd have to sit on the bench because obviously he wouldn't get in front of Schär. But then, you've got that quality cover there. So say if something happens to Schär or Botman, you've got him to come straight in and step in and do a job. And, I think he'll be a fantastic addition. He's only 21. And you may get another couple of years out of Schär. And then after that, he'll come into the team and probably announce himself as a number one centre half, and him and Botman will grow together as a centre half pairing.
Yep.
For the next 10 years. I mean, thoughts on this lad, Pete?
He could defend. He looks a warrior in terms of being a defender, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Or if we landed him, that would be fantastic.
Yeah, absolutely. And that would be a statement, wouldn't it? I mean, you know, if we got him in January, if we don't get him in January, we have to, yeah, he'd be absolutely, he'd be a great addition to the side. And I saw another report today linking us, and these are strong links now. And apparently, we're going back in for 60. Well, we were in a firm with 60 million in the summer, but apparently, we're going back in January because, according to the news reports, PIF really, really love this guy and want him at the club. It's Moussa Diaby. I mean, there's a chance we could get him in January. Bayer Leverkusen not having a great season. They're outside the relegation zone now. I mean, to be honest with you, I would take this guy all day. I think he's a terrific player. I think he would cut it in the Premier League. He's young. He's 22. He's got a lot yet. Eddie Howe, could he bring more out of him, to be fair, when knowing what Eddie Howe's like? Your thoughts on this guy, Pete?
He looks quality, doesn't he? And I think he improves that wing position for us. Because I still don't think Jacob Murphy's that one that's going to win us titles or get us into Europe. I've got to admit. And Fraser, to me, is just finished for me now as well. So if we got someone like him in, that would be brilliant. Definitely take this guy in.
Yeah, I mean, he is a terrific player. I mean, I would have him all day, to be fair. I mean, he's quality. He's got the quality as well, and that's the thing. And he might not be having a great season for Leverkusen, but that might not be down to him. That's probably down to the whole team not having a great season, you know.
Yep.
I mean, last year we linked with Patrick Schick, weren't we? And then he signed the new deal, and he hasn't really set it alight in Bundesliga. So, I mean, would Patrick Schick have done it in the Premier League? I'm not so sure. He doesn't score a lot in the Bundesliga, so I'm not really sure if he would do it in the Premier League. I mean, would you, Pete?
Yeah. I mean, Bundesliga's different quality to what the Premier League is, isn't it? So you would think, how would he do in the Premier League? I'm not so sure. But, and if he did come, would he get ahead of Isak and Wilson? I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, because we were looking at him before we got Isak. It's one of them. I mean, it's a strange one. But, I mean, he's a good striker. I mean, he had a good Euros, didn't he? But he scored that terrific goal against Scotland. But other than that, he just doesn't seem to cut it. He doesn't seem to be an out-and-out goal scorer, does he really?
No, not really.
I'm just looking at Diaby's stats this season. I mean, he's played 15 games, Pete, and he's got 6 goals and 3 assists. And he's crossing his 22% accuracy per game. I mean, not massively great, but then but he's still creating, and he's already and he created 10 big chances for them this season as well. So I mean, that's not bad out of 15 games really from the winger, is it? 6 goals and 3 assists.
Not really. Totally agree with that.
Yeah, so he would bring goals to the Premier League, and I think he would thrive in the Premier League, if I'm honest. I mean, a lot of French players come in the Premier League and hit the ground running and play really well, you know, so who knows? Mighty Mag says, hi, John. And Peter Trippier has been touting off Jude Bellingham would cost a few quid. Jude Bellingham, yeah, he would cost quite a few quid. I mean, you're probably talking the hundreds of millions of pounds, probably about. He's probably about 120 million. I think Real Madrid have got in. because Liverpool were looking at him, but I think Real Madrid have got over Liverpool, so I think he'd be going to Madrid, to be fair.
I do, but would surprise me
what
if
a
he
player.
comes to the Premier League. Yes, absolutely. Would surprise me if he was to come to the Premier League, though. I could see it happening sometime.
I mean, I know this guy when he was 16 at Birmingham, he was touted, and there was, I think, Arsenal going to pay 30 million, and then Borussia Dortmund went in and bought him for 30 million. I mean, at that time, I thought, wow, that's a bit of a risk. £30 million for a 16-year-old, and he's in the Championship. Is he really that good? But my God, he is, isn't he, Pete? What a player!
Silly is, and he's rightfully on the plane to Qatar for the World Cup.
Yeah, I think if he plays well, England could do well in the tournament, and he could be one of the stars of the tournament as well. And I mean, he's only 19. It's frightening, isn't it, to think how?
Oh, it is, isn't it?
And he's nowhere near his peak. And just wait till he gets to his peak. What's he going to be like? Mighty Max is due for 100 million at 18. Could be worth it. Well, yeah, but do you think he'd come to us? I'm not so sure. I mean, he might want to go to Madrid and try his luck there if he want, you know. But if we're looking at Maddison, then where would he fit in the midfield as well? So, and you can't leave him on the bench. I don't think he'd be happy being the bench warmer, would he? Not at £100 million either.
Oh, so, definitely not.
Yeah, but I think he'll be Madrid more than anything. I don't think he'll go to Liverpool. But who knows? Have Liverpool really got that sort of money to spend? Not so sure. Not if they're up for sale, they haven't.
No, that's the thing.
So, I mean, we've obviously frightened them. We've upset the apple cart. Now that's the problem, Pete. You know, we've upset them. And
we have, haven't we?
Did predict this would happen. And, you know, and, you know, even my mate Keith Patterson even said this will happen as well. We'll upset the cartel, and we have upset the cartel. Well,
we have, yes, definitely.
You know, I mean, if it wasn't for that guy Keith Patterson, I mean, we wouldn't be where we are now. I mean, you know, persisting for a cat hearing and then eventually persuading Mike Ashley to take the case on.
Yep.
And then Mike Ashley took the case on from him, and look what happened. You know, we got the takeover. Amazing, that, isn't it?
There you go.
And especially when you hear things in that, like hearing like, oh, well, the Premier League wanted to chuck us out and everything. It's like, oh, hang on, this is bad, isn't it? I didn't even know half of this, Pete. You know, nobody knew half of this till Daniel Jowl opened his mouth and started having to go to this Premier League barrister. And it was like, and the barrister didn't know what to do, did he? He didn't know where to put himself. And he was like, oh, no, okay, I've been caught out. But to think what the Premier League wanted to do with us is absolutely disgraceful.
Yeah, absolutely.
And no wonder Hoffman went out the door as soon as our takeover came over.
Yep.
I think it was about a week later, he says, I'm resigning in January. Yeah, that's in other words. It hasn't worked for you coming in here, so you've done your job, off you go.
Yep.
You know. But no, but we got the takeover, and look where we are now.
That's it, yeah.
So, I mean, next guy, the main guy I want to see through the door in January. And I think we should just go in with a bid and just say, look, maybe say 50 million. Say, look, there you go. Take the 50 million and put it in front of their noses. And hopefully they won't turn it down. And that's for James Maddison. I mean, fantastic player. He's had a great season so far. You know, he can play right wing. He can play centre midfield. So you've got somebody there who's very versatile. And you know, and this guy just brings a lot of quality, you know, from midfield to the right wing. 13 games, 7 goals, 4 assists. I mean, you know, from your midfielders as well. And if your midfielders are scoring, if you've got midfielders scoring 10 goals each a season, there's 30 goals if you're out of 3 midfielders. If all 3 of them score 10 each, there's 30 goals there straight away before your strikers even have goals as well. So it's, you know, you need quality like that in your team. And I mean, would you go with 50 million?
Yes, I think that's a reasonable offer, considering he's only got like just over a year left on his contract. I think give them that, offer them that. Let's just hope to say, yep, we'll take that. Because I think Maddison's open to the move here. From what I've been
Yeah,
hearing,
yes,
he's open to the move coming year.
and then Pete, do we do this as well? Do we, as we're going for Madison, do we just add a few more million on top of that and say, look, we'll take this guy as well, Tielemans, who's only got 6 months left.
Yes, I mean, he's another being really good, scoring blinders outside the box as well. Yep, he's having a really good season at the moment. Oh, yes, I don't think he would cost much, considering he's out of contract at the end of the season as well. And I think we would go in the bid in with like that, because if Leicester want players as well, new players, they still may have to sell before they can buy.
Absolutely, Pete. And I mean, you know, this guy does ooze a lot of quality, but when you read his comments back in pre-season, he did say that he'd like to go to a club for a project.
Yep.
Now, did he mean he wanted to come to us because we're a project at the moment? And I mean, you know, what a great project we are. I mean, the thing is, though, if you've got Madison, you've got Tielemans, where does Tielemans fit in the midfield? That's the problem. But you know what? Yeah. That's why you have your strength and depth, because that's where you get your strength and depth from. So, like, say if you've got someone like Joe Linton who gets a suspension because he's got 5 yellow cards, there you are. Tielemans just steps straight in. So you're replacing one quality player with another quality player.
That's it.
You know, that's how Man City have been so successful, because they've got 2 teams, and that's what you need, 2 teams, really. And just think you could have a strong team in the Carabao Cup as well. So, you know, we won't have a weak side. We'll just have 2 strong sides, you know?
Yep.
I know everybody keeps saying, oh, well, Man City play that weak team in the Carabao Cup, but there's some good players in that team. And I mean, they brought that young right back or left back in, didn't they? And he scored a 18-year-old, and he scored in the Champions League for them. Rice, he's called, yeah. So, yeah. That would be absolutely brilliant. Joe says he's a superstar already. He's going to get better. Talking about Bellingham. Yeah, absolutely. Matty Max says another name I've seen today is Villarreal striker Nicholas Jackson. I know nothing about him. I've not heard of him.
No, I haven't,
but I'm not
well.
too sure. Joe says offer 70 million for the 2.
Oh, that's not bad, that, like.
That isn't bad. That would probably tempt Leicester, because they may think, well, do you know what? 50 for Madison, 20 for Tielemans. Tielemans goes in the summer for free. Yep. Do we cash in now and take the 20 million, or do we wait till the summer and lose them and don't get any money? It's all going to be. But yeah, I've never heard of Nicholas Jackson, and I'll have to have a look and see who he is. Villarreal, but I would imagine. I reckon. I bet you. What you call him? I've just lost his name now for a minute. Not Nicholas Jackson. Emery. I bet Emery will be looking at him then if he's that good, you know. Because I mean, obviously he was a Villarreal, so you'll know him very well and know how he plays. But let's have a look, see who he is. So he's 21-year-old. He's Senegalese, so obviously he may be playing in the World Cup for Senegal. He's played 13 games, started 8 of them, but only scored 2 goals. And got 2 assists. So to me, yeah, he's 21, he's raw, but I'm not so sure if you've played 13 games and you've got 2 goals, that's not really goal scoring form, is it?
No, it's not really, is it?
No, so to me, I don't think he would be a player we would take a punt on, but, you know, who knows? I mean, the club might see something in him that's, you know, they might see something then, say, do you know what? Yeah, let's go. But I can't see it, to be fair. Plus, I would rather he stayed at Villarreal and got yourself a bit better than what he is. I mean, there's other strikers you could go for that are got better records than that. And I mean, another one that we keep getting linked with, and this guy is actually playing down reports of it as well. So that's another clue. this guy, Vasco da Gama, Andres Santos. I mean, a young lad. He's 18, 19. He's a terrific prospect. Only going to get better. Barcelona, amongst a host of probably other clubs as well. I mean, he looks I mean, I don't watch the Brazilian league, but I have seen some clips of him. The guy doesn't look too bad at all. I mean, as I say, I don't really know an awful lot about him. I know he plays for Vasco, and they've been promoted, by the way, from the Brazilian, like what's equivalent to our championship.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, this season he's a midfielder, and he can play defensive midfield. He's disciplined. His weaknesses are his discipline, but his strengths are his ground duels, his positioning, his tackling. 33 games he's played this season. He's scored 8 goals. No assists, but 8 goals. But bear in mind, the lad's 18. He's 5'10". He's only going to get better. And bring him in, I'd say, and I think about a £30 million fee's touted for him. Do you know much about him, Pete?
Not an awful lot, but 8 goals for a defensive midfielder sounds good, like, doesn't it? In terms of scoring 8 goals for the club he's playing at. But if he went the Premier League, it's a bigger job. That's the thing. But do I think we need to strengthen that position in a way? Yes, I would say we do.
Yeah, I mean, I think our owners are doing the right thing because they're trying to bring a lot of youngsters into the club and get them, bring them through. I mean, we've got Kowal to come. I mean, you know, look forward to see what he can do in the World Cup. I mean, I bet you'll be the same, Peter. I bet you'll be watching the Australian games if they're on at a decent time because you want to see if he's playing or comes off the bench and see how he does. I mean, and then we're looking forward to see where he ends up in January. And, you know, every one of us will be following the club that he's at to see where he's going, you know, and how he's doing. And these clubs will have to get used to our fans going on their Twitter page and saying, you know, but I'm sure they won't be too bothered about that.
No, definitely not.
It should be. Joe says he will improve, but there's better young strikers out there. Yeah, I totally agree. Mighty Max says it was on the MSN website, so not the most reliable. No, I wouldn't say that is. It's Microsoft, isn't it? So I wouldn't really say that's the most reliable. And Joe says Bruno and Joe Linton might get the best out of him. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, because he's Brazilian. He'll slot in well alongside Bruno and alongside J7 as well. I mean, but yeah, I mean, he's a prospect. Yes, he's got discipline issues, but you know, you can get that out of him. You can stop all that, you know, and just
you can do.
And Eddie Howe will be the man to do that, I think.
Yep. Certainly would be, wouldn't he?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, so we've got another Brazilian, which we've also been linked with as well. And it's this guy here, Angelo Gabriel. I mean, I don't know too much about this guy. He looks a prospect as well. I mean, you know, he's another midfielder. So like I say, I don't know a lot about him, but I think he's 18 as well. You know, I mean, Brazil are good at producing these players. You know, they have a long list of these players that they produce off their what you call production line. I mean,
the
amount of Brazilians who have come abroad and gone into different clubs and things like that. I mean, but like I say, I don't know a lot about this lad. Do you know much about him, Pete?
Not really as well. I've got remit, so.
I mean, I'm just looking at his stats now. When they come up on screen. He's 17 at the moment. He's a right winger. 10 games, no goals, 1 assist. But bear in mind, he's
Oh.
only 17.
Okay.
He's played 60% of minutes, so he's been used as a lot, I think. According to Transfer Market, he's at Santos. That's who he plays for. And his contract expires in 2024.
Interesting.
And according to Transfer Market, his value is 13 million euros. So he's got a couple of years left on his transfer.
Yeah.
And he's boots are from Adidas, and he does social media. He does Instagram. As it's yeah. But yeah, the guy doesn't look too bad at all. I mean, again, he's only 17, so he's going to be a raw talent. But then when he comes into the club, he's going to be, another one that's going to be put through the youth system and brought on
he will
and,
be.
Built up ready for the Premier League.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe he goes out on loan to a few places. But yeah, that's another guy that's touted to come in as well. So there's all different players out there ready to come in, but it just depends how many of these rumours are actually true. But definitely the Andres Santos one has never gone away. That's always been there. So if you remember under Graham Carr, he used to always go around the French market. Now we're shopping in the Brazilian market.
Yes.
And yeah, but yeah, we're shopping in the Brazilian market now, and it's just fantastic to see, isn't it? Mm-hmm. He could be the next Neymar, says Joe. And Ashington says, oi, Tony and Pete. Hi, mate. You all right? Hope you're well. I mean, guys, get your stuff and get your ideas in the chat. Who you would like to see we're bringing in January? I mean, it's all going to be. It's all interesting. I mean, do we bring in? I mean, not probably in January, people. Do you think next summer? Do we look to bring a new left back in? Do you think Targett will be let go? Because I mean, can't get him past Dan Burn, and do you think he looks happy?
I don't think it would be for Targett. Possibly Jamal Lewis, I think, could be out the door.
Yeah.
First before him. So it wouldn't surprise me if we were to go in for another left back, or if we don't, because Dan Burn is playing very well. Then we do have Matt Targett as well for options as well.
I mean, it's a funny one with Jamal Lewis, isn't it? He seemed to play. He started to play all right under Eddie Howe, and then he got that injury against Liverpool, and then he was left out the 25-man squad. Refused a couple of loan moves in January, and I was the same as Kieran Clark did as well. And I thought, well, why? Because you're not in the 25-man squad, so go somewhere and play some football. And but yeah, it was a strange one, and yeah, I think that's a good shot. I think Jamal Lewis to go. I mean, I don't know why, maybe send him back to Norwich. I think Norwich would have, because I know because I used to work with a Norwich fan, and he said they would quite open the arms have Jamal Lewis back because he was terrific for them.
That's a possibility, but I think he'll be out the door, if not January, end of the season.
Yeah, I mean, there must be something about him, because Liverpool wanted him as well. So
it did.
It's just, I think, under Bruce, he's just been Bruce, hasn't he?
Yeah.
Like a lot of players are cabbaged.
Exactly.
Ashington says, I want Diaby in me. Yeah, Diaby would be a hell of a player. We spoke about him earlier. I mean, yeah, Diaby. He says, and get Manquillo out as well. Need a better replacement in case Trippier's injured. Yeah.
I think Manquillo's been a great servant as well. He has started improving a way, but you could tell the last game he played, he'd definitely been out of the team a while. That was it.
Yeah, because he had an injury, didn't he, as well? But, yeah. I mean, to be honest with you, I mean, do you think we should have... I know Spurs got him, and do you think we should have gone in and got Jed Spence? young right back, 21-year-old. He could have come up the road from Middlesbrough.
Possibly. But it's a hard one, isn't it?
He could have
I
learned
mean,
off
we've
Trippier.
still got. I think Kraft is getting ahead of Manquillo as well. So if Kraft returns and he's in the 25-man squad for the second half of the season, I think he'd be ahead of Manquillo. Not ahead of Trippier, but ahead of Manquillo.
Yeah, definitely. Joe says, what about Kieran Tierney from Arsenal? What do you think? I think he's too injury prone.
He is quite, and I think Arsenal would want to keep him as if anything happened to Zinchenko.
Yeah. Ashton says Manquillo out and Jamal Lewis and Lascelles out as well. Yeah, there's reports Lascelles is up for sale for January for about 10 million. So that may happen in January, but providing we get a replacement as well. Because I would hate to sell Jamal Lascelles and we don't have a replacement. Ashton says probably Dummett as well, to be fair. I think Dummett shouldn't have been given a new deal, should he?
No,
really?
He's just made of glass now, and you could tell injuries have caught up with him completely now. Just doesn't have the pace now.
Yeah, they should have just... what they should have done was they should have just let him go instead of renew. I don't know why they renewed the deal, to be fair. I don't know if it was just to keep harmony in the dressing room or whatever, but he's never featured.
That's it.
I know he played a little bit last season, but not a lot, really. And Ashton says, we don't need the best replacement for Manquillo, just someone decent.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and it's who do we get in as a right back? That's the thing. Who do you get in as cover? Because, I mean, you've got to get somebody who can come in and take over from Trippier when he's injured or if he's suspended or whatever. But, I mean, Trippier this season, I don't know. He just looks really strong. I mean, he got up, against Southampton, he sort of pulled up and we thought, oh, God, here we go. The curse has started now for the World Cup coming up and Kieran Trippier's pulled a hamstring or whatever. And then he seemed to just come out in the second half and he was running around fine. It was like, well, hang on, what was all that about? So was it a bit of kidology from him to the opposition? They might have had a false sense thinking, oh, well, he might get taken off, so we'll be all right in the second half. Or is he just got himself stronger and is his muscles a lot stronger and he's, tweaks like that don't bother me and just shake them off and carry on.
Yeah, something like that, isn't it?
I mean, if you remember, Alan Shearer, when he used to get an injury, he used to be a fast healer, didn't he, and get back quickly. So, and I mean, you look at Callum Wilson; he lost 2 years of his career, and that's not under Steve Bruce, by the way. That was because he had 2 ACLs, and I mean, for him to come back from 2 ACLs, look how well he's playing. Because normally, after 1 ACL, you're normally struggling, but after 2,
you can be.
Yeah, but after 2, he's been absolutely terrific. I mean, anybody else that you would like, Pete, that you could think if we brought in January would improve the team as well?
Was it Corney you were on about one time? This defensive midfielder?
Manu Corney from Borussia Mönchengladbach.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, he's a terrific player. I mean,
and there's also Mudryk as well from Shakhtar
Donetsk. Corney.
Yeah. Mudryk as well from Shakhtar Donetsk.
He's another one. I mean, he would be a terrific. Yeah, absolutely. He's another one. He would be fantastic as well. I mean, what a prospect he is. I mean, I don't know how much he's up for, but I mean, I wouldn't have thought he'd be cheap, would he? Because I think his stock's high, isn't it?
Yep.
I mean, he's had a great time in the playing for Ukraine and for Shakhtar Donetsk. So, we don't know what he would, what his stock would be like, but I would definitely, without a shadow of a doubt, I would have him no problem. Terrific. But I think he's £60 million, but man's around him as well. So would we? Well, saying that, we can challenge us because that's already been proven. We can do it. So we shall see. I mean, Coney would cost about 25-30 million, I reckon, maybe. And
Possibly,
that's
yeah.
the man now on screen. There he is there. I mean, plays for Mönchengladbach, if anybody doesn't realise, but he plays for Mönchengladbach. He played against RB Leipzig last year and was man of the match. He's a 21-year-old Frenchman. Manager of Mönchengladbach is Daniel Farke, the ex-Norwich City manager. If there was a chance of getting him in, I mean, he's a defensive midfielder. He's a hell of a baller. He can play a hell of a ball from midfield. He can get forward as well, but he's more accurate with his long passes as well. I mean, likes of Bruno, Wilson, Isak would thrive with balls from this guy. I really do rate this guy highly, and if there was him in, I mean, I reckon the club are looking at him as well. I imagine they're not looking at him because, why would when the reports came out that we were looking at him, so yeah, I mean, gosh, this guy out, yeah, I rave about this guy. I think he's absolutely fantastic, and if you haven't seen him play, if there's ever a German game on Mönchengladbach, just give it a watch because this guy is pretty good. And the other player that Pete was saying was on his little shopping list. If he could get him in January, maybe he might have to see if he can lend him 50 million, Pete. Mudryk. There we go. There's Mudryk. I mean, this guy, left winger. Do you think, Pete, for instance, if we brought him in, Mudryk, do you think that'd be the end of ESM?
It's a hard one. See, we've done well without ESM, haven't we?
Yeah.
I mean, but you also need the backup as well. I mean, Fraser, for me, needs out the door now. He's been really, really woeful this season, I've got to admit. And I said Jacob Murphy's still not that player that's going to win you the title or get you into Europe as well.
Yeah, no, he's not that next level player. I mean, Fraser's been poor this season, hasn't he? He's not done anything, has he, at all?
Nope.
But he's sitting there on 80 grand a week, so he's coining it in, isn't he? But that's the problem, Pete. We've got too many players on big wages that aren't good enough, but we can't shift them because there's teams out there that can't afford the wages.
That's it.
So we're stuck with players like this.
They would give Jacob Murphy an extra 4 or 5 years, and he's still got loads of time remaining at the moment.
Yeah, why Mike Ashley did that 6-year deal, I mean, that was stupidity, that was, wasn't it? I mean, I think it was because he had a good season that season. He scored that goal against Wolves, the last-minute equaliser from the free kick. Yep. Obviously, I think probably one of the reasons Mike Ashley done that was because he had his stupid head on, and the pound signs were rolling in his eyes, and he was probably thinking, give him a long-term contract, and then next season when he bangs the goals and then he's flying up and down that wing, we're going to have bids coming in of 30-40 million for him. And then he'll flog him.
Exactly.
You're never going to get that.
No, definitely not.
I Like Coffee says, good evening, Tony, PD and all. Good evening. I'm sure he's a relation to Emery, isn't he? Ashton says, how many players do you think we realistically need to stay in the top 4 more positions would you prioritise? Right, Pete? I'll give you that question first of all.
It's at least 2 or 3. Yeah, 2 or 3, definitely.
And he says, what positions would you prioritise?
Out on the wings, another centre midfielder. And I would say possibly definitely a new centre-back as well. I think we do need to get Jamal Lascelles out of the club as well.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I would say if we got 3 players in, that would be a good window. You know, I would take this lad for centre half if you've only just joined us. Benoit Badiashile, hell of a centre back, 21, young. Yes, he may cost about 40 odd million pound, but well worth it. He's a unit.
Yep.
This guy would be the eventual successor to Share. I mean, Share's 30 now, 31, so he's not got long left now when you think. So this lad is going to be the future. And Botman would have a hell of a partnership. So I would say I would have him definitely. So that would be my centre half. Then my midfielder would have to be Maddison. There we are. So it would have to be get in and get Maddison as well, because we know what this guy's capable of with goals and his creativity. I mean, him and Bruno in midfield, they would be running the show everywhere. And if we were to finish in top 4, he could be the player to help firing the top 4 and stay there. And I would also have said as well, and I would take this guy, Moussa Diaby. I mean, this guy is absolutely terrific season, but reports today that PIF absolutely love this guy and are going to make him their number 1 target in January. But that's only based on reports from journalists. So, take it. It's not, because it might, we know what these journalists are like. They make up loads of stories. They'll have 500 players linked with us and we'll only get 2 of them. So, yeah. But yeah, if it was, I'll get him as well. That would be absolutely fantastic. And right, he says, Ashington says, Coney, his hair's canny style like. It is, isn't it? Ashington said, I keep the SM, getting good backup for him would be good competition for him to keep his place. Yeah, that's what you need. You need quality. So he's got to think that he can't just slack, because when he's playing, if he's looking back and thinking, well, there's only Murphy or Fraser on the bench, so if I don't really play well, they're not going to walk into the team. I'm just going to stay here.
That's it.
If he's got somebody pushing him and somebody with quality pushing him, and he's going to think, oh, I better play well, because then I can keep the shirt on my back and I'll make sure they don't get into the team. And that's what you've got to do. I mean, that's what Dan Burns doing. He's keeping target out the team by keep performing week after week. The cells can't get in the team because can't get past Sharon Botman,
Exactly.
And that's what it's all about. That's why you need healthy competition, and it's good for squad morale as well.
It is.
I mean, it's nice when you can look at your bench and say, oh, we've got this player, we've got that player, I mean, you look at Man City, they look at their bench and they'll go, oh, Julian Alvarez can come on, he'll score. They'll get him on. Or they'll have a young right back on the bench. Oh, we'll get him on. And he'll come on, Cole Palmer's another good player for Man City, youngster coming through at the minute. They'll throw him on, They've got quality everywhere, and that's what you want as a team. To be a great team, you need that quality.
You do, don't you?
That bench sometimes and see Murphy and Fraser and think, what the hell have I got on my bench?
At times, yeah.
I'm sure I would be as a manager. I shouldn't say it's definitely agree with this new centre-back. He says, also, I feel like Isak has a lot of potential. I can see him scoring a lot of goals if he's on form and doesn't get any more injuries. Yeah, I mean, we touched on this last night. I mean, Isak, when he comes back, if he stays fit, I could see him getting 15 goals this season.
It's a possibility in it. I can't see why not.
But the question I'm going to ask you, Pete, is, and I'm going to put you on the spot, so, right, so Wilson's playing well. Wilson stays fit. So if Wilson stays fit for the season now, Isak's back, fully fit. Obviously, we haven't got ESM playing at the moment, left wing or whatever. Would you be tempted to put Isak on the left wing and play him? Or would you make him sit on the bench and wait his turn?
It's a hard one, innit? I mean, you kind of drop Wilson at the moment. That's the thing.
No.
Because Wilson's good with his work rate as well. So I think Isak's going to have to be a little patient. So it's either going to be if Wilson starts to have a dip in form or Wilson picks up an injury, which you do have that concern it will happen again, unfortunately. Then you'll come in.
Yeah, absolutely, Pete. I mean, it's great to have this strength, isn't it? And, and depth. And just unlucky for Isak to pick that up in training for Sweden,
Yep.
I mean, considering this was supposed to only be a 3-week entry, it's turned out to be a bit more serious than first thought then. Because when you think at the start he was only supposed to be missing for 3 games, wasn't he? And then coming back.
Yep.
And then we got the bombshell. Oh, no, he's out after the World Cup now. Oh, okay.
Right.
Strange one.
Yep.
Chris is in. Hi, Chris. He says, Maddison and DRB would hugely strengthen the squad. Yeah.
Yep, they would.
Yeah. Absolutely. They would be the two that could keep you in the top 4. Maybe even the top 2. Who knows?
Possibility.
I mean, I still think Man City will win the league, Pete. I think they'll overtake Arsenal. I think Arsenal go on a dip, and then I think Man City will just hit. They'll just hit the accelerator and they'll stay there, and nobody will shift them. I mean, Holland's had a couple of quiet games, hasn't he? And he's in a bit of a barren spell, isn't he? But I think he'll come back firing, and once he's firing, Man City will be back up there in no time.
Yep.
Josie is, what do you think about strikers we should get rid of? Wood, bring in someone else? Do you think, Pete?
Possibly come the end of the season if there's no improvement from Wood. It wouldn't surprise me if it were.
Yeah, he just doesn't seem to fit in with our style of play, does he?
No.
He's more of a target man, Wood, though, and he likes the ball high, doesn't he?
He does.
He might. I mean, would you sell him back to Burnley in the summer if they come up? Or would Burnley take him back?
That's the thing, I'm not so sure. But no progression from him. It's time to move on. No matter who it is.
Yeah, I mean, he's past his peak and everything now.
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, he's had his peak years and everything. Now he's peaked, so he's not going to get any better, is he? Unfortunately. Ashton says, I would sell Wood too, but only if we get a decent replacement. And he says, what do you think we should do with Anderson? I think they should either give him more chances to play in more game time or loan him to someone like Burnley or Middlesbrough for a season. Pete, I mean, Elliot Anderson, he's not really played a lot and he's been brought on as a substitute and he's had a couple of games. I mean, you were at the Carabao Cup game last week against Palace when he got that booking. I heard of some people that it was a silly booking. He could have been sent off for it. I mean, I didn't see the tackle, to be fair. I mean, what was your thoughts from last week? Did he have a great game or not? Or was he just...
He tried, but the whole game in general was just poor. It was just teams cancelling each other out, settling for the penalty shootout. Yeah, pretty much just no end-to-end, not really no quality on the day it was. That was the thing, just a very drab game.
Yeah. And would you loan him out in January, Pete, to a championship club like Top End?
No, I would definitely still give him his opportunity at this club. Still, you want to give the youngsters an opportunity to see how they can progress. And he can do that. He can do that. We've seen glimpses of it in pre-season. So why can't we give him... So he deserves... The very least thing, he deserves his opportunity this season.
Yeah, that's for sure. I mean, obviously, I know that Carabao Cup game we've got against Bournemouth at home is going to be an interesting one, especially if Marcelo Bielsa is their new manager as well, because we know how he plays his football. He likes to play attacking football. I mean, that may be a thing for Anderson to start, and he may thrive on that because of our pressing and intensity. If Bournemouth come out and play attacking football against us in that cup, we're going to annihilate them, aren't we?
Could do, yes. That's a possibility. Because have they got the quality to do that? when this they came up, he had to park the bus pretty much, and we found it hard to break them down. Yeah, that's the thing.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, do you play? I mean, against Bournemouth, do you play the full strength team?
It all depends if they're back from the World Cup in time for that game.
Yeah, because the World Cup stops on the 18th or something, doesn't it?
And the Cup game's on the 20th or the 21st. I think it's scheduled to take place. It's one of the two dates, but it's rather about the 20th mark of December. That's the thing. It all depends how England are going in the World Cup. That's the thing. I think hopefully Pope's back for that one, because we needed him for the penalty shootout. That's the thing.
Yeah. Are you thinking we're going to get the final of the World Cup, Pete? Are you?
Why not? It's a possibility.
Yeah.
If you want to get there, you've got to beat the teams. We've done it to I know we got through against Tranmere. We had to do it on penalties to get to Palace. We're going to have to do it against Bournemouth this time if we are to do that.
Yeah, sorry, sorry, Pete, I was meaning England, because I know we can get the final, but do you think England can?
Nah, I can't see that England winning this competition this season. Not whatsoever.
I mean, when we go back to that England-Germany game, we were 2-0 down, and then all of a sudden he made a couple of changes, and then all of a sudden we changed an attacking. I think that's what Southgate needs to play, attacking football, because you know that might be the way England win stuff. You know, you need to stop this defensive, because that's not Wilson's game either. So if he plays attacking football and feeds Wilson the ball, he'll put the ball in the back of the net every time.
Yep. Otherwise, if we're not, then it's going to be a worrying World Cup.
Yeah, exactly. It's going to be a long one, isn't it?
I mean, if we don't beat Iran, then I'll be worried straight away, because if that doesn't happen, what say that will beat the other two teams? Will beat Wales in the USA as well.
Yeah. I mean, if we don't beat Iran, that is worrying, but we should beat them, really, to be fair. We should be topping that group and going through.
Yep.
And then we play against either Senegal, or we could even play, is it Qatar, I think, or whatever. But anyway, we can get through, if we can get through that group, you know, and then obviously, but then it would set up a potential quarter-final against France.
I mean, if we get France, or one of the bigger boys, then I'll have no hope. If we just scrape through, particularly if we just scrape through the group stages.
Yeah. I mean, the last World Cup, I mean, Southgate, we won both games. We were losing to Tunisia, weren't we? We came back and won 2-1.
We went for it against Tunisia. They got that penalty. We won 2-1. But we just scraped past them.
Yeah.
And that was the thing. I mean, Panama, okay, would beat them quite heavily. Belgium, I know we made a few changes. But Colombia, that should have been... That to me, shouldn't have needed extra time or penalties.
No.
Sweden, we did well. But people will say, oh, but Ibrahimovic was not there. But we had to beat what was in front on that day. But Croatia is where it massively backfired on us.
Yeah.
We sat back, and we did in the Euros against Italy. Took the lead, but then we sat back, and they come out where we couldn't score an extra time. And two of the penalties the penalties we missed. I mean, Rashford, I don't know why he did that step up and stopped. Sancho missed. And even Saka didn't look great when he come on as well. I mean, he missed, and that's what got Italy the Euro trophy.
Yeah, I mean, as much as we don't like T-Rex, I mean, he did well. He saved a couple of penalties. He saved from Belotti. He saved from Jorginho, because Jorginho tries to be clever with these penalties, and Weren't too happy when Pickford saved his penalty, was he? But yeah, I mean, he'd done the hard work. Pickford, he said, look, the final's there, go and win it. Rashford, I was confident when he stood up because I thought, oh, he'll put this away because he did against Colombia in the World Cup, you know.
And I remember
but he just seemed to mess about.
Was it against PSG? I think in the Champions League, he just rifled that into the roof of the net.
Yeah. But against Italy, he tried to be too clever, didn't he? And then hit the post. It was stupid. He should have just hit it.
Yep.
I mean, Kane hit his with power. Maguire hit his with power. I mean, when Maguire stood up for the penalty, I was a bit like, oh, hang on a minute. I'm not happy about this, you know. But by God, he put that in the net all right.
Yep.
I mean, if the keeper got his hands on that, I think the keeper would have been in the net as well with the ball. But I think Donnarumma would have been injured if he'd try and save that. Would have probably broke his wrists, to be fair, because, I mean, that was a hell of a shot from Maguire.
Yeah.
I'm surprised the net stayed on. Good job it did. But yeah, it'll be an interesting World Cup. I'm going to be watching it next Monday anyway, so yeah, that'll be interesting. Ashton says, I'll put Isak on the left wing. And Joe says, I would do as well. He would put Isak on the left as well. Chris says, Isak has played in the wide role before, so he should be fine.
Yeah, that's actually.
Ashton says, Madison Diaby in a centre-back. If we're willing to spend, I'd sell Wood and get another young striker in. Yeah, but I think we'll keep Wood till the end of the season, like Pete said. And that makes sense too as well. Ashton says they should try slotting in Anderson with one of our better lineups. Yeah, I mean, give him a go from the start. You can't, you know. It's all right giving him a start in the Cup, but when he's just coming on fits and starts in the Premier League, it's not really helping us much, is it? Man City done it before and threw him in, didn't they?
They did, yep. And look how he is progressed as a player.
Yeah. Saw someone saying the USA will thrash us, can't see it unless Shitgate messes up. Yeah, exactly. Just exactly what Pete said. If we don't play against Iran and we don't beat Iran, then that'll put pressure on us straight away. Ashton says, it'll be sad if we don't beat all the teams in that group. As he says, Gareth will then have to go if we don't do well. Yeah, I think he will. Just keep off Eddie Howe, though. You're not getting him. And he says, Anderson will probably be in the next World Cup if he keeps improving, still young yet. He is, but he plays for Scotland. But whether he changes allegiance to England, I don't know. I mean, if he's playing well and he's doing well in the team, then if England come looking as well, he may think, oh, hang on a minute, what do I do? Do I stay with Scotland? Do I go to England? So he'll have a choice to make there. I mean, do you think you'd come play for England if you got the chance, or do you think you'd stick with Scotland, Pete?
It's a hard one, isn't it? So we've just got to wait and see, I suppose, what his decision is.
I mean, you look at it from a player's point of view, and if you look, and I mean, I know England hasn't won a major trophy since '66, but if you look at it, you think, where have I got more prospect of being? Have I got more prospect playing for Scotland and maybe qualifying for a World Cup or a Euros, or do I think, no, I'll play for England because if I play for England, I've got more chance of going to the tournaments regular, But then he might just say, no, I'm going to stick my allegiance to Scotland like I've done from the under-21s, you know, and I think it's through his grandmother, I think, isn't it? But, you know, if he did stick to Scotland, that's fair play for him.
Yep.
I mean, they haven't done too bad, Scotland, to be fair. I mean, they were close. I mean, they lost to Ukraine, unfortunately, but, you know, or we could have had them in the group again in the World Cup.
Could have done.
Ashton says, can't see him staying at Scotland. Darren's on. Hi, Darren. Hope you're well, mate. He says, Norway Anderson for England. Ashton says, he's a northeast lad at heart. He will join. Yeah, but it all depends. Night and day gaming. Hello to you, mate. Glad to see you on. He says, don't discount Wales. They can still be the spanner. They step up performances for competitions.
And we only just scraped past them in Euro 2016.
yeah, Gareth Bale put them ahead, didn't he? And we won 2-1. So yeah, they're not a bad shout, Wheels. No, they're not a bad team at all. And I mean, are playing very well at the moment. I mean, Wayne Hennessy was man of the match against Ukraine in that final. I mean, if it wasn't for him, Wales wouldn't be where they are now.
Mm-hmm.
Asherton says his granddad played for the Toon, didn't he? Yes, I think he did. Yes, he did. Yeah, so yeah, that's why he's got the Scottish roots as well. But yeah. So guys, if you like what you see, then please hit those like buttons. It really does help the channel. Go up the search settings and makes it more easier for people to find my channel. Also, if you haven't yet, then please consider hitting the subscribe button. That's free to do so. Also, and it helps grow the channel. Also, hit the bell notification. That'll tell you when I put a pre-recorded video on, or I've got a upcoming live show on as well. So it'll keep you notified as well. So yeah, so we're coming to the end of the show now, guys. But thanks for everybody who's come on in the chat, and you know, it's been a good show talking about different targets and what we would like on our shopping lists. If me and Pete had a spare few million, that wouldn't be so bad. But you know, we ain't got that lying about somewhere, unfortunately. Asherton says Jeff Allen got a bad injury in his career from what I read. Right, okay then, mate. Yeah, that's who it was. Yeah, but yeah, I mean, I would love to have a few million. I wouldn't mind being a pound behind Piff, I tell you. But yeah, we're not that lucky. LA Coffee says, nice to see Trippier and Wilson's interaction with Grealish when they all arrived at the World Cup squad gathering. I wonder if Trippier walked up to Grealish and said, you need to start playing like Almiron, mate. Nightingale Gaming says, quickly, have you seen the news? No, what's happened, mate? Please tell, because we would like to know what that is. So if you can let us know, that would be great. And yeah, guys, I mean, at the start of the show, I mean, people who have joined us now, I mean, we've now got another sponsor in the club, and Monster Energy have now joined forces with Newcastle United to be the official energy drinks partnership. Another great sponsor deal that's going to bring money into the club, and it'll only help generate funds for the club so we can generate our own money and also go out there and buy players as well in future windows. Things are looking up. So we've had the Saudi Airways one, and now we've got Monster Energy. So guys, I mean, it's just getting better and better at the club now. And what an absolute fantastic thing to happen today. It's just come out of the blue. And but we've still not heard no more information on the Saudi Airways, even though it was going on the advertising boards on Saturday. So we're not sure if they're a stadium sponsor or a shirt sponsor. So hopefully the club may come out and tell us a bit more about that one. But today's news, Monster Energy are on board now. Absolutely fantastic. Me and Pete over the moon with that one. I don't drink energy drinks, by the way, but I think it's an absolute brilliant deal all round for the club. Asherton says Russia's attacked Poland with missiles, killing 2.
Oh, Jesus.
Oh, no. Well, if they have, they've just broke into NATO territory, and that'll be something starting off them, won't it? And that's not good at all. Let's hope it's just been a misguided missile and it's nothing more than that. But thanks for that, Nate, and we'll keep an eye on that and keep an eye on the news as well. Asherton says, really didn't hear about that. No, we hadn't. No. Number of stories on Sky Sports on Ronaldo's interviews just making it ridiculous. Piers Morgan and the rest of the media will be milking content for the next 2 months. Toxic situations for their fans. Yeah, I mean, Pete, he put that interview out. He said his daughter was seriously ill in the summer. He couldn't go on tour. He said he felt the club didn't believe him, even though he's supposed to have shown them proof. I mean, it's not a happy situation there at Manchester United. And there's reports saying that apparently we've held talks with George Mendes, his agent, about him coming to Newcastle in January. I hope not. I seriously don't want that guy at Newcastle. He's nothing but bad news. He's 37 now. I think his time's coming to an end of his career now.
Mhm.
I think the guy should hang his boots up personally. I mean, we'll see where he's at in the World Cup, but I don't want him at the club. He'd be a bad egg in the doom. Don't need a bad egg in the doom. I mean, your thoughts, Peter, on his interview with Piers Morgan, and then also about the rumours linking him with us?
No, we don't need that kind of character in our dressing room now. We really, really don't. He's not shown his quality in the Premier League this season anymore, but he needs to leave Man United ASAP now. I think Man U just need to do the decent thing and part ways with him, whether it's in the January or they just think his contract completely now, even though it might cost them a lot to do that. But he needs to get out of the Premier League now.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Ashton says Piers Morgan can't stand that man. I don't think many people can. Ashton says good sponsors anyway. Yeah, absolutely. Night and day gaming on Ronaldo thing. I think he's done in football. Who would want to take him on after this? Yeah, nobody would. Well, nobody in their right mind would. I like coffee. Monster energy for a monster club like Newcastle. I like it. I like it.
Mm-hmm.
Tell you what, I like coffee. Get that trending on Twitter, mate. I tell you, get a hashtag and get that trending on Twitter. And I'm sure that'll catch on. Yeah. So there's a challenge for I like coffee. Get that trending, mate. Ashton says, Man U, I can keep their drama to themselves. We're done with keep their downfall. Yeah, well, we've had enough dramas before in our club. I mean, we've had plenty of them. We've had, the mate Ashley drinking a pint in 30 seconds in the Arsenal end when you're not supposed to even take drinking to an arena. You're supposed to drink it outside of the concourse. So you're supposed to drink it there. Sitting with fans and thinking he's the, and everything. The guy's just a joke. Bringing people in like the Poison Dwarf, Dennis Wise, and
and as the idiots like Derek Lambias, Joe Kinnear back, late Charnley, and not to mention the crap managers we've hired as well under his regime. Steve McLaren, the cabbage eat Steve Bruce. Who else could you see in there as well? Joe Kinnear's manager was another one as well. Allardyce.
Yeah. Well, to be fair, Allardyce wasn't his appointment, was he? Was Freddie Shepherd.
He was.
He had to sack him, didn't he? Because that's why Allardyce took the P when he got his compensation, and he went and bought a villa in Spain and called it Casa St. James's as if to say, I got my compensation out of you. Yeah, twat. You're not missed. That's for sure, Allardyce. But we've had some
any of the dinosaurs that have now gone out of this club.
Yeah, I mean, probably the only two decent managers we really had at the club. Well, you could say three actually. I mean, I would say Houghton was one of them.
I did.
He was harshly sacked.
Yeah,
you didn't. Oh, you did. Yeah, I mean, he was harshly sacked. I mean, because we lost against West Brom, we shouldn't have got sacked for that.
No.
And then that was to bring Pardew in. I mean, Rafa was great for us. He'd done everything, but his hands were tied. He wanted to take the club forward, but he knew Mike Ashley didn't want to. And I would go as far to say, in that season we finished fifth, I would say Pardew was a decent manager then. But then he let himself down the year after when he done that headbutt on David Myler, the ex-Sunderland player, playing for Hull. I mean, why did he do that? That was absolute stupidity to do that. Go in on a player and head them. And you're a manager. You should be showing that player more leadership skills than anything. You're supposed to be the bigger person. And why he even got involved in that was just stupid. I mean, mate, Ashley missed a trick there because he could have sacked him for gross misconduct and not had to pay any comp end, but he kept him. And then Palace came in for him. He got compensation. So, we were all raging at that.
Then we had his assistant John Carver, which It didn't work at all, did it? Great coach under the
No.
Bobby days, but in terms of a manager, my word, that was just horrible to watch.
Yeah, it was. And he literally just kept us up against West Ham, didn't he? But he wasn't a great manager, though.
Nope.
I shouldn't say this. People are daft, can't see Eddie wanting Ronaldo. No, I can't either. There's no way Eddie Howe will want Ronaldo. Chris says, no way is Eddie having Ronaldo in the Newcastle dressing room. I like coffee. Nottingham Forest could take Ronaldo. Do you know what? That wouldn't surprise me. I shouldn't say that. I can see that happening.
Oh, God.
Night and day game and say, still the greatest drama was Boya and Dyer makes me laugh. Oh, God, that fight. Do you remember that, Pete?
Oh, yes, I do.
Do you remember the interview afterwards when Souness was on the TV and the tea lady comes through with his cup of tea for him?
Yes, I remember that as well.
I reckon he was absolutely raging, though, Souness.
Oh, you could have been. You won. Two of your teammates
Fighting each other.
Right, that's it.
It was all because Dyer wouldn't pass the ball to Boya. Because they had a bit, apparently it was going on in training though, because Dyer was saying, I'm not passing the ball to you and everything. And then apparently it got out of hand. And then it just, when it happened on the pitch, that's when it just stopped and they all started fighting against each other. That was a bad day for the club when they done that.
Yeah.
I mean, Lee Boyer was a good player as well, wasn't he? But
he was very physical.
Yeah. I shouldn't say he can throw Bruce and the Man U are too tight to the kiosk.
It's funny how they're not linked with he's not linked with these jobs.
Yeah, exactly. Klopp could take Ronaldo. Yeah. Give him a smell with them teeth. See, Ronaldo, it's all right if we have floodlight failure. I'll just smell and I'll light the stadium up. I shouldn't say Souness is a big baby who throws his rattles out of his pram.
I didn't rate Souness as a manager.
No, I didn't.
Well. He was terrible.
Well, Blackburn were just about to sack him. We went and took him and paid the compensation.
Yeah. And he just dismantled a team that had players under Bobby.
Yeah.
At the time as well.
Nate says he offered them both out for a fight after that. Well, that wouldn't surprise me with Graham Souness. The guy was just a total and utter, bellend, basically. That's what he was. But, yeah. So, guys, if you like what you see, hit those like buttons. It really does help the channel grow and helps it get found on the search settings as well. And also, don't forget to hit the subscribe button. Free to do so. And the bell notification. That will tell you when a pre-recorded video goes up or I become live as well. And another comment's come in. Oh, I've lost it for a minute. From Ashington. He says, Ronaldo would scrap a Klopp in the middle of the pitch. Yeah, probably would. Probably. I wouldn't be surprised. So we're come to the end of the show, guys. So Chris says, another great show, Tony and Pete. Thanks very much, Chris. So Pete, have you enjoyed the show tonight?
Yeah, definitely. Thanks for having me on tonight.
Yeah, no problem, mate. No problem. So this week I've got coming up. Tomorrow it's the return of the dynamic duo, me and John. So we'll put the time slots out for that tomorrow. And then on Thursday it's the fan zone. That'll be coming on again. And then I'm looking towards probably Saturday now. So it'll probably not be Friday, but Saturday. A time to be decided at the moment. But I'm going to do what we call a bit of a phone-in. So you don't have to come on screen. You can just be behind the cam. And I'm going to have a phone-in where fans can come on, have their say on what's happened with the club so far, how happy they are with things going on. Come on, have your 5 or 10 minutes of fame online. And like I say, you don't have to be on camera. You can be off camera. That's not a problem. And we'll do a bit of a phone-in because I don't think it's been done before. But we'll give it a go and see how it goes.
Like
I should say see you later. Yeah. So before we go, Pete, where can we find you on social media and what you are coming up on your channel this week?
Of course, my YouTube channel is PD Proudlock, so feel free to check out. Please subscribe this Friday. We will have the usual PD's football live show on Friday, so get yourselves tuned in with those good old food picks, and no doubt there'll be more comments about club and lookalikes as well. So feel free to get yourselves tuned in on Friday. The link will always be in the live chat, so get yourselves on. Feel free to do so, and we'll definitely be covering the England games as well in terms of previews, reviews, watch-alongs, things like that, etc.
Oh, excellent, Pete. So there you go.
Yeah, and of course the socials, so Facebook page, Twitter, Instagram, just all PD Proudlock. Feel free to find me and follow me there.
Excellent, Pete. Thank you. I mean, yeah, if you haven't been on the PD's football show, go on and have a look. It's great. Even if you don't want to go on live, but just go on. It's brilliant. The food picks are absolutely fantastic. And then I tend to pull out a few lookalikes as well. So I put out some great ones as well.
More now than the food picks. All these lookalikes.
I think everybody asks for that now, don't they? So that's become a regular. But yeah, and me, you can find me on Twitter at TonyTooney31. Follow me and I'll follow you back. Obviously, if it's in the middle of the night and I'm asleep, I won't follow you till the next morning. But yeah. But don't be disappointed if you don't say follow back straight away. It's probably because if it's during the night, I'm in bed. So, but it will be as soon as I physically can. Also, you can find me on my channel as well, which is It's All Black and White TV. And like I say, I've got lots coming up. So be sure to tune in and make sure you hit that notification button so that'll notify you what shows are coming up. It's all going great at the minute. I've got 125 subscribers, but so my target now is looking for 150. And yeah, so spread the word. Hit that subscribe button. It really does help my channel grow, and the likes also help push me up the search settings as well. So yeah, absolutely fantastic. And got another comment. I shouldn't say as we need a pillock of the week, lol. The pillock of the week. Yeah, oh well, we'll have to come up with one of them, won't we? Yeah. So yeah, we'll have to, yeah. And well, I will bring it on probably. I'll probably bring it into the fan zone, I think, on Thursday. But I'm going to start. Well, I did start on John's, but John hasn't carried it on his phone. I'll start on the fan zone from Thursday. I'll bring cock of the con and we'll have a cock of the week. And fun. Chris says Ronaldo. Yeah, well, yeah, he's a good candidate for that, and he, along with Piers Morgan. But guys, yeah, it's been great tonight. It's been a great show. We've talked about plenty of players who we potentially would want in the January window, but I think the majority of it, everybody seems to want Maddison and Diaby. They're the two favourites that's to come in. So yeah, I mean, let's hope. That's all we can hope for. Get your letter written to Santa and ask him if he'll help you castle out in some way. And yeah, but until then, guys, stay safe and have a great rest of the evening. And I'll see you tomorrow. Bye bye.